Hello. I'm Jason Wilcox, the Chief of the NYPD Transit Bureau. Here tonight with me is Assistant Chief Kevin Williams, the Commanding Officer of Patrol Bureau Queens South. Also with us is Captain Arsenio Camillo, the Commanding Officer of Transit District 23. Captain Nancy Cooper, the Executive Officer of the 101st Precinct, and Lieutenant Courtney Cummings of the 101st Precinct Detective Squad. Also here with us is Richard Davey, the President of New York City Transit. I need to remind you that the information that I'm about to provide to you is preliminary, subject to change, as this incident happened only a few hours ago. Earlier today, at approximately 3:43 p.m. this afternoon, on board a southbound A train, two groups of young individuals were engaged in a verbal dispute which quickly escalated, resulting in a 15-year-old male being shot in the chest. As the train pulled into the last stop, the Mott Avenue train station, the injured teen was pulled off the train by a Good Samaritan. Once on the platform, they were met by two Transit Bureau police officers who were patrolling this station. The officers immediately rendered aid and summoned EMS. Officers from the 101st Precinct also responded and assisted in administrating CPR to the teen until the arrival of EMS. The teen was then immediately removed by EMS to Cohen's Children's Medical Center here in Queens, where he was pronounced deceased at 4:40 p.m. NYPD detectives are currently reviewing MTA cameras as well as speaking to witnesses that remained. But we're going to ask for the public's assistance tonight with this. There were numerous people on that train that may have seen or heard what transpired. We ask those individuals to contact our Crime Stoppers hotline at 1-800-577-TIPS. All calls are strictly confidential, and you can remain anonymous. I will now pass this over to Richard Davey prior to taking any questions.
Just want to make a few words. Thank you, Chief. First, on behalf of New York City Transit and the MTA, obviously our hearts and prayers go out to the family of the young man who was murdered here today. Obviously, this is a senseless tragedy and one that we'll get to the bottom of. We're fully cooperating with the police, as the Chief said, downloading video now to figure out who this perpetrator was. By all accounts, this was not random. We have seen illegal guns, illegal knives, weapons in our system. We need to get those out. This does not make our jobs any easier, the folks around me's jobs any easier. But it's clear that is something that occurred here. So, again, we're fully cooperating with Transit Police and appreciate that they'll have their swift investigation and thorough investigation as they always do. And again, offer our condolences in this tragic crime that occurred here today. Chief?
Thank you,
Can I
sir.
take a couple questions? Josh, ABC?
Yes, sir.
I know, first of all, I wonder if you have two parts. First of all, could you just elaborate a little bit on this crime not appearing to be random? Was this specifically the intended target, or was he just part of a group that was in the dispute? And then I have a part two.
Understood. So let me say, as of now, the investigation showing that this was not a random act of violence. There was definitely a dispute prior on the train leading to the station that escalated probably between the stations prior, 36th Street, 25th Street, and then it ended here. We believe that the shot was fired somewhere between 25th Street and Mott, right here.
My second question is sort of bigger picture. When you look at the trends and the crime that you're seeing in the system, how much of it is random versus targeted, and what conclusion should the writing public draw from that?
So one thing that we've seen, and I've said it at meetings, we've seen a lot this year where disputes quickly lead to verbal arguments and then quickly lead to physical disputes, confrontation that unfortunately have led to violence. So we've seen that again. But again, with this situation that we have here today, obviously our detectives are actively investigating to try to determine what is the motivation for what happened here today. So that is being actively investigated, and hopefully we get to the bottom of this very quickly.
Dan Ripley, New York 1.
Thank you. One clarifying question, just one shot fired, and I do have a follow-up, but one shot was at least fired?
So obviously crime scene is here, the investigation is very early, but we believe at this time one shot was fired. But again, that's preliminary and that might change.
And Chief, just a follow-up question for you and the New York City Transit President. When I started covering transit 10 years ago,
Yep.
a murder once, twice, maybe 3 times a year, sometimes 0. Now we're seeing, this is 8 by my count this year. The summer ended last year with 5 murders. I mean,
Right.
what has to be done so we don't have to live like this?
So to your point, we've had, prior to this one, which is the 8th, we've had 7 homicides in the subway system this year. All 7 have arrests attached to them. We know there was an additional stabbing on Sunday night on a New York City bus at 149th Street and Girard Avenue in the Bronx. So obviously, anytime an act of violence occurs in the subway, it is taken very, very seriously. The response from the NYPD is intense. The investigation by our detectives is robust and very thorough.
All right, we're going to go from Steve.
Yeah, sure. I'll just reiterate what the chief said. They've made arrests in all of these incidents, I think in part to the great work that the police have done and also the extensive camera network we have in the system, over 10,000 cameras, obviously. The mayor and we have been working very closely. Police have been deployed more rapidly on our system over the last several months. Mayor Adams and Chair Lieber have worked very closely over the last months in that regard. We obviously have work to do. There's no doubt about it. I take the subway every day. I'll take it home tonight. So hopefully that gives folks confidence that that's how I believe in it. But we've got to stop this. And as I said today, as the chief said, in this particular instance, it looks like this was not a random attack. And so, I guess I'd implore folks who, and again, I don't know what the facts are in this case, but implore folks, if you're going to have a dispute, to de-escalate that dispute.
We're going to move over to Julie Walker, 1010 Wins.
What was the camera situation involving this incident? You said that you were reviewing tape, but then you're also asking for the public to come forward. Anyone might have seen this. So is there enough footage for you to identify the people involved or not?
So again, this is a very, we're at the front end of this very intense investigation. We're getting video from the MTA. We also know that after the shooting happened, everybody fled out of the station to the street. So our detectives are actively looking for additional footage in the neighborhood. So that's beyond what the MTA can provide us. But the MTA is here. We're getting video from them now as we speak, and it's going to be reviewed by Lieutenant Cummings and her detective squad, and in the coming hours. So this is obviously a very active investigation.
We're going to take 1 or 2 more. Jessica Formosa, Fox 5.
Good evening. Just wanted to ask, were there officers on that subway on the platform at the time?
Yes, there were officers. So there were 2 officers from District 23 at the station when that occurred. When the train came in, they heard the initial call and responded immediately and rendered aid.
Nobody was on, no officers on that car?
In that car, no, but in the station, yes.
All right, Alicia Reed.
You mentioned that the groups knew each other. Gangs or?
So I didn't say they knew each other, but I said this was a dispute between 2 groups of youths. So again, what is the motivation? That's being investigated. Whether this had any gang or crew nexus to it, that's an avenue that is definitely going to be explored, but that's still to be determined.
All right. Anybody else? Anybody else? Right here, sir. This will be our last question.
Ryan from the Wave, is there any indication that the victim or the perpetrators were local?
So the victim is a young man, 15 years old. Obviously, we're not going to talk about him at this time pending notification.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.